Hey, Beth.
Hello, Madam Director.
Thanks.
How's it going?
It's good. It's good. It's a whirlwind.
I'm sure it is. It always is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I came across a note on my bulletin board in the office today that was something like, like those little sort of morale booster things that a staff member had given to me. It was dated like March 6th in 2020. Like, hang on, you're doing great. You've got this. It'll pass. I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, thing is, does it ever pass?
Right. Yeah.
That's what adulthood is like too. It's just one fire after another.
So many fires. And I have to remind myself sometimes, like, dude, I put out a lot of fires. Like when you think, you in the moment, you're just like, what the heck is this? And you're like, it's just another one.
Just another one. That's right. Nope.
Joan Ritchie was so good at reminding me of that.
Joan was very, I mean, she was there. It was like 15 or 16 years. And I was only there for the last, 5 or 6 of those maybe. And everything just rolled off her back, at least when I was there. Just everything. I mean, the craziest stuff happened, and she was always just like, she never got rattled.
Yeah.
At least not when I knew her. As a matter of fact, I was a volunteer for 4 years before I started that job. So yeah, it was a number of years, and it was rare that I saw her upset.
Yep. I remember sorry, my cat is giving me a problem here. I remember going to her office when I was the first became the assistant director. I'm like, I just need you to tell me it's all going to be okay. She's like, yep.
It is going to be. And that's like where I work now. Our director took over 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the one before her, I'll just say wasn't as competent as it appeared. Let's just put it that way. So the one who took over inherited like a lot of stuff. And even now, like she's great, but she gets really upset. And I just always think of Joan. And I'm like, you know what? And I tell her like what Joan was like, it's okay. It's gonna be fine. Nothing bad's gonna happen.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey,
Hello.
Toby.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
There she comes. Hey, Diane, I had 2 of you in the waiting room. Like I. So today was the first day we had construction renovation happening in like the main part of the building. They had to cut through a wall on the 3rd floor to get to some pipes that weren't quite where they were shown on a drawing. So everyone had a little taste of what it's going to be like, because they were telling me, oh, so if it gets loud, I'm like, no, when it gets loud. When it gets loud, we're going to work around it.
Hi, Amy.
Hey, Diane.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You guys, my family my sister especially keeps calling me and saying, I want to talk to the director. Let me talk to the director. She thinks she's very funny.
Yes, they're all excited for you.
They are.
I couldn't send you those notes until today because I didn't know when you found out.
Right.
I didn't want to be the one announcing it.
Yeah, it's all been, I feel like I've been getting a little bit of mixed messages from various people. So, but you know, it's all good in the end.
Oh, there's Judy.
Hi.
Hey.
Judy, I was looking at some old pictures yesterday, and it was a riot of Andrew. We're at some square dance or something at
Oh,
Will. Oh,
yeah. Those were the days.
oh, the pictures were adorable, and Halloween costumes in class.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Charlie.
Good evening, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie.
Howdy.
Linda, what is the date of your departure from the board?
I'm not sure how fast they can get a replacement. So I said I would stay, although I guess if I stay, I would not be able to do any voting. So it would just be a body. But then again, if there's nobody here, there wouldn't be a vote anyway. So, I mean, I guess that was my thought anyway. So if there's a replacement, maybe tonight. Who knows?
Well, you still can give your input. You have a great history.
Well,
I'll say.
yeah, lots of years. I mean, when I look back, it's like, holy mackerel, wow.
So what year did you come on? Because I was
1990. I filled a position of someone who had to leave. I think her husband started a business, and so she had to take a leave to participate in the business. And so in fact, I was just looking at the stuff upstairs a little while ago. I actually had 1 year term before I actually got my own term. So I did her last year and then started my own term after that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I was put on in December, and then the term ended, and I had to re-up again in February. So
Yeah.
it was 2 months. That's it.
Time flies when you're having fun, Linda.
I know.
Speaking of
That's my
time, it looks like it's time to get started.
Okay.
I can't believe it's already 6 o'clock, but let's see. Yes, indeed. Let's call the meeting to order, shall we? Amy, are we recording?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Very good. Well, greetings, trustees. I have to do my usual reading of the remote participation statement. This is an open meeting. It's being conducted by remote participation. There are no members gathering physically. Members of the public may attend this meeting virtually by accessing the link which was published in the meeting notice. A recording of the meeting will be posted on the city's website as soon as we are able to do so. Votes will have to be taken by roll call. I see that we have present tonight Beth Gould, and we have Tricia, we have Diane Mangiarotti, Tricia Svensson, Linda Benz, Judy Lusk, Toby Reed, Mahesh Patel, and Carol. There's Carol. Hi, Carol. It is you. We have two guests tonight. We have Carol Waite and we have Melissa Letelier. So welcome to both of you. Seeing as how we have a quorum, let's get started with the meeting. Make sure you know where your mute button is. I would prefer that we all stay muted unless we wish to speak. And certainly if you wish to speak, unmute and let her rip. So first of all, you all know the news that Amy's got the job. Congratulations, Amy. We're going to look forward to working with you. I guess it's a secret until the City Council receives and approves your nomination by the mayor. But we've probably violated that. I know I have already, but we should keep it under our hats for the time being. Anyway, we're all glad. So I look forward to working with you as library director going forward. The other thing I want to bring to your attention is a sad bit of news. If you didn't hear, Jean Vaughn passed away. She was a longtime trustee and she was a longtime member of the Friends of the Library. She left us not that long ago as far as serving on the board is concerned. I have to go back and look it up at some point, but seems to me it was only several years ago that she was still serving actively on the board. So we will miss her. Think good thoughts for her and for her family. She was also, her family was also very gracious in asking that gifts in lieu of flowers be made to the Friends of the Attleboro Public Library. And we'll have to think of something very grateful I would say the Friends will have to think of something very appreciative for that money that may come in. So anyway, we'll miss you, Gene. First item of business on the agenda is the minutes of the January 13th meeting. So I will give you about 2 minutes to look over the minutes. If you have any questions or comments, we'll make any changes at that point. So take a look and I'll be back to you shortly. Anybody want more time?
Me.
Okay. So are there any changes, corrections, edits, additions to the minutes? Hearing none, we'll accept the minutes as presented. And we'll move on to the treasurer's report. So Mahesh, you're up. You're muted right now. Mahesh, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Sorry. Amy has presented warrant number 8. The expense for this month will be $3,081.05. Take a few seconds to glance through it. If you have a question, let me know. And when you look at the budget, we have reached about 50% of our appropriated funds. We still got a long way to go.
Mahesh, line 12 is Hoopla. Remind us what Hoopla is. Looks like an annual license fee or something to that effect.
Amy?
Hoopla is the digital downloads with no waiting. So you can download movies, books, audiobooks, whatever, with no waits at all, no matter how popular the title.
Okay, and is that an annual?
Yes.
Okay. And the 630 on line 9 was what we voted at the January meeting for the gift cards in lieu of the employee holiday party.
Mm-hmm.
Any other items that jump off the page that you'd like an explanation of? Okay.
Shall we go ahead and vote the expenses? The Santander balance, the checking account, we have $8,209.08 balance.
And shall we do the usual and move the amount of the warrant in from Rockland Trust into the checking account?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay.
Could I have a motion?
Okay, so I'd like to hear a motion to move $3,081.05 from Rockland Trust into the checking account to cover warrant number 8, and in that same vote, approve warrant number 8.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? raise your hand. Okay. Thank you very much. Anything else, Mahesh?
No.
Thank you. Okay. So stand by. Next item of business would be the director's report, which Amy sent out, was it yesterday or today? Anyway, you've probably seen it by now. Are there any questions on Amy's report? Anything you'd like to talk about, Amy? You've got the floor.
No, just, it's more of the same. We're just trying to keep the place afloat. And I'm looking forward to having more exciting reports with new things to offer in the future. But we're doing well. We're have very few people out right now. I did put some feelers out about what staff would like to see before we can reopen. Right now, it's, as much as we want to be open, we haven't had the staff available to man the doors and man the desks and take the phone calls. But with numbers going down, we just don't want to be that, we want to stay safe, both for patrons and for staff, but we also don't want to be that one organization that is not out there doing what we do best.
Okay, any questions for Amy? Comments? All right. Next, we'll talk about the technology committee. Technology committee has been conducting walkthroughs of the building for several of the vendors who wanted to bid on our E-rate request for proposal. And that window closes next week, I believe. So we have gotten some bids and we expect to get some more. That's progressing on schedule. And I guess I have nothing additional to report on that. Amy, can you think of anything else?
Mm-mm.
We have a consultant, as I mentioned to you. We have a kind of a matrix by which we assign various factors by which we will choose the winning vendor. The most important criterion is required to be how expensive it is. But we also assign a high degree of importance to a vendor that will be able to manage our system for us on a real-time ongoing basis. So that's something we're looking for. But we expect to have at least a couple of bids for vendors who can do that and provide us with a good and cost-effective project. So we'll let you know more on that when the window closes and we've put our heads together on who's to be our winning vendor. We've also brought all of this to the attention of the city's building project committee, the envelope project, because we don't want to be working at cross purposes. We want them to know what we're doing, and when we select a vendor, we want that vendor to be in touch with the building crew that's here currently so that we don't step on each other's toes. So those channels are now open, both through the consultant and eventually with the vendor that we select. I think that's all I've got to report to you on that subject. As far as the building envelope project is concerned, we continue to meet weekly with the team, which consists of the project manager, the lead contractor, the building commission, and the budget director for the city, and miscellaneous others, the architect. So we have these Tuesday morning weekly meetings, which continue. What's going on right now, Amy covered a little bit in her director's report, but the main roof has been it's weather tight at this point. There's still work to be done up there. There's some of the HVAC equipment that needs to be installed up there, which will happen soon. They've taken out the slate roof, as Amy mentioned. They've redone the underlayment that goes underneath the slate. Some of that had rotted. They had contingencies anticipating that that might be the case. So anyway, that underlayment is in, and that is weather tight as well. And as soon as we get some favorable weather, that slate will go in. They're finishing up pretty much on the 4th floor pretty soon. There's some duct work that has to come out, and then once that is removed, they have to patch some of the fireproofing material. We really get into the nuts and bolts of this project, probably more so than we need to know, but all these things are proceeding pretty much on schedule. So far, we haven't seen anything that's going to set us back beyond our anticipated completion date, which is great news. We've had a little trouble finding a vendor to repair the antique big windows in the building. But that's going to happen. I think that will be solved pretty soon. They've also expanded the general window replacement that they were going to do in these are the other non-historic windows, if you will, throughout the building, that they're going to replace more of those than we had anticipated in the beginning. That's all good news. It seems to be that there is still money available in our contingency set aside that will accommodate that. Otherwise, nothing but good news to report. Everybody's talking to each other, nobody's fighting, and we're on schedule. So, and so far within budget. Any questions on either technology or the building project? Okay. Yes.
Just one quick question, Charles. The vendors, do you have a separate service clause with them when they install the access points?
Do we have what? I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Service contract.
A service contract. That's one of the things that's important to us. So probably the answer to that is yes. I can't answer that definitively yet, but it's something we're looking for, such that staff is not going to have specialized knowledge in how to run this system, how to take care of something that's not working, how to change settings. We'll have hands-on remote services that will help us with that. If a piece of equipment goes out of warranty, they'll remind us that it's time to replace it, things of that nature. But we don't want to have a technology specialist on staff. So it's very important for us to have a service contract that helps manage the network, but also takes care of any of the servicing that, if we have a breakdown or something that needs replacement. Does that answer your question?
Yes, just one more thing. It's just if a patron can't connect, then they should be calling the service contract instead of the staff to get it connected.
Hopefully it will be simple enough that staff will know exactly what to do to reconnect the patron. Other than that, we should have some kind of a hotline where staff can call and get something taken care of.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? All right, we are flying along here, people. I don't know why that is, but here we are. We're just not, I guess we've run out of chat.
Charlie?
Yes.
Oh, there she is. Never mind. Eileen didn't have the link. And so I just sent it to her. Okay.
Oh, sorry, Eileen. We missed you.
I never had the link.
It went out with when Amy sent the minutes and the warrant and such. So it was in that communication.
Yeah, but that isn't tomorrow. Anyway, okay.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
there you are. I'm glad
I'm
you're
here.
here.
I just wanted to know why it wasn't there.
Okay. All right, so we're finished with item 3. Let's move on to item 4. We will table 4A because we're tabling that until we have a vendor that we can talk to. We'll know more about how to proceed with filtering software once we know who we're working with and what we need to do. The next item would be to come up with replacements for our departing trustees. Eileen is leaving us, and this should be your last meeting, if I'm not mistaken. Is that
Yeah.
right, Eileen?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And Linda will be leaving us. She did offer to stick around until we have a replacement, so it's incumbent on us to come up with a replacement as soon as we can. 2 names were suggested. Diane Mangiarotti suggested Cynthia Lawrence. Diane, can you tell us a little something about Cynthia and her interest?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Cindy's, well, she's lived in Attleboro for, maybe over 40 years or so. She started off as a science teacher in the Boston Public Schools, then moved to Attleboro after she got married, had kids, and her last employment was as a K through 8 principal at Bayview Academy. I don't know if you've heard of that, it's in Rhode Island. And she served on planning board here in Attleboro for a number of years. She was very active in the League of Women Voters. And then she was also on the State League of Women Voters Board. And married to Paula Lawrence, an attorney in town. 3 kids, 6 grandchildren, one more on the way. And she would like to be involved with, a city board again. So anything, I don't know if you have any other questions, but I've known her for years.
Anyone have a question? Okay.
I belong to a quote unquote Highland Country Club book group. And Cindy's been to our meetings a few times. So she's an awesome person.
Yeah.
Okay. We have one other suggestion, and that is from, is one that Judy Lusk forwarded to us. The name is David Pierce. Judy, you want to tell us a little something about David?
Certainly. David has not lived in Attleboro that long, maybe about 5 years. He was originally from Mansfield. He went to Princeton and stayed and he is a minister in Cumberland, Rhode Island now. He was a minister in Virginia. He came back here about 5 years ago because his wife's father became disabled, and he has relocated here. Yeah, you do know. So he's married, and he has 2 children, a 5th grader and a 3rd grader at Wamsutter and Hyman Fine. His wife teaches at Hyman Fine, and several of you may know her, is the former Maura Whitty. So, and she is originally from Attleboro. So they're here to stay. He's a wonderful guy. He's a great listener. He's obviously, his job tells you that he's very community oriented. He would like to be more involved in Attleboro. Very intelligent, very articulate, wonderful person.
Mm-hmm. I remember him when he was a little baby, little guy.
Oh, that's right. He did say that. He said she'll never remember me. He did mention that.
He had red hair. He did then when he was little. I don't know about now. Reddish blondish hair.
Well, I know some of you know Maura Whitty.
Is that the David Pierce that used to live near us when we lived in West Mansfield, you and I?
Yes, he lived on the corner, right? On the corner of your street and across diagonally from where I lived on Balcom
Street. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay, we were wondering that.
So yeah, because we were neighbors at Charlie and I.
I did not know that.
Way back
David's really good at questioning. For example, he asked how many years, I happen to mention, Eileen was on the board for 30 and Linda for 25. I said, that's a question that I did not ask. And these past months, I've been trying to catch up to them. And then when they ever said they had been on for 25 and 30 years, I thought, well, okay, that explains a whole lot of things. So anyway, that's it.
Okay, all right.
They sound like two very good candidates, very good board, that would be board members.
All right,
Yes.
I would be happy to have a conversation with each one and tell them how it works and what needs to be done. The process, as you know, is that they have to write a letter to the mayor and explain to him why they want to be on the board. I'll go through that with them. And then, of course, the mayor would have to agree with that and send their names to the city council for approval. And we'll go from there. But if, with your blessing, I will do that. Are there any other names that anyone would like to suggest before we go ahead and do that? Okay, so I will take that upon myself to get that going, and hopefully it will become a reality pretty soon. So thank you for that. Thanks for those reports on our candidates. The next item on the agenda has to do with the fact that we wanted to make a donation to the Literacy Center of an upgrade in their technology. We got into a little bit of a contest. We contacted the person that currently handles their IT, and that would be a gentleman at, is it, I can't think of the name of the company now. I'm blanking out. It's a local computer firm who
Oh, Sensible?
Sensible,
Sensible.
thank you. I was thinking
Sensible.
simple and I knew that was wrong. It's Sensible
Yeah.
Computer. And I think maybe we kind of crossed the line we shouldn't cross in trying to get him to give us a bid. And, you know, I think really this, he doesn't work for us. He works for the Literacy Center. So what we did today was we passed his proposal along to Amy Blount, said, this is what we'd like to do. We'd like to donate this. If this meets with your approval, we would like you to go ahead and order the work according to this proposal. And then when the bill comes through, we'll pay it. So I think that's what we've talked about before. That is to enhance the access points within the building, primarily on the 3rd floor of the Literacy Center, so that their current system is more functional. And everybody seems to love the idea. We do that in honor of Christine. And the ball is rolling. So by next meeting, we should have something definitive to report back to you. But so far, it is being well received. Any questions on that? Okay, it's been a long time since we've done anything for the Literacy Center, and I know we have some overlap or have had at times in our boards, and I think it's important that we keep that relationship strong. All right, is there any other unfinished business which anyone would like to bring up?
Charlie,
Yes, sir.
what about, we talked the other day at the interviews about possibly putting in something about evaluating the director. How do we want to go about doing that?
I have more information on that. I had it actually under new business.
Oh, there you go.
I think that I put it, yeah, under bylaw changes.
Good.
So let's move on to that. Unless anyone else have any items of old business? All right, so let's move into new business. Background, I think everybody was there, but our staff members may want to know this as well. And Amy, you haven't heard any update from me on this. Amy raised a question that who evaluates the library director? You know, the library staff gets evaluated, but at the top, what's the story? We have nothing showing in our bylaws that indicates that we had planned to do any kind of evaluation. And so it became an interesting question that begs an answer. It also got me to a point where I looked over the bylaws and said, wow, we wrote these bylaws in 2014. The world has changed a little bit. We really ought to look at a variety of things in the bylaws and address that. But let's talk about that question about evaluations first of all. I contacted the mayor and I said, and the personnel director for that matter, I heard back from the mayor who said that evaluations are done by me on an ongoing basis, me being the mayor. He said the library director reports to the mayor, so there is no role for the board to review the director's performance. If there is a concern with the director's performance, the board can and should approach the mayor about those concerns. A few minutes later, I got another email from the mayor that said, that sounded kind of cold. and he softened it up a little bit. But anyway, he essentially said, that's my job. And I do it at regular intervals. I don't know what those regular intervals are, but on an ongoing basis. And I think it all goes back to the beginning of the mayor's administration with respect to selecting the library director. We believed that that was our job in past practice to select and hire a library director. The mayor said, no, that's my job. I'm responsible for hiring department heads. And he said, this is how it works. You can make recommendations, but it's my decision and I hire the library director. So that's an area that's a little bit in conflict with our existing 2014 bylaws. And I'm not sure I want to open up a can of worms at this point, but this will be the second library director that we will have weighed in on, but not made the final decision on, the decision being made by the mayor. I guess it begs looking back in history a little bit just to see what practices were in years past. And I haven't done that. I know that there's a lot I can find if I were to be able to come into the building and look through our old records in the file cabinet. And I will do that at some point. But for the moment, it looks like we don't have a responsibility to do that. It looks like, Amy, if you're not hearing from the mayor and he's not telling you how you're doing, then it begs the question, how am I doing, Mr. Mayor? So any comments on that?
Yes. Charlie?
Yes.
Charlie? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have the Massachusetts Public Library Trustees Handbook here, and I guess, like you said, we have sort of like a running little, he does this, we do this kind of thing going on, but according to them, it really is one of our jobs. But I know we don't want to overstep, but there's a whole section on evaluating the director and the purpose of it. And I heard that when I went to that Foxborough meeting that we had. Remember a couple of years ago, we had a meeting in their library and a lot of the state reps came and library people came. And that kind of came up then too, do an evaluation. So, I mean, it can be very formal. It can be, it says that a lot of boards you're evaluating all the time by your interactions and how you feel things are running and by what you hear in the community. And there can also be something on paper, but I guess we'd have to work that out with City Hall.
I think it's a question that comes into play with municipal law or the city ordinances, perhaps, is what I'm trying to say more properly. Which seems to be in conflict. And over the years, we've, like with the discussion of who owns the trust funds. Do we own them? Does the city own them? We had a wrestling match over that. That's actually how I got on the library board, as I'm a trust fund commissioner. And Mayor Robbins was trying to move those funds into our domain. The library was pushing back. So my proposal to the mayor was, well, they're being managed well. Why don't you take a trust fund commissioner and put that person on the library board, and then your fiduciary duty will be fulfilled. she went along with that, and that's how I got here in the first place. But there seems to be, I think, back in history, this long clash between what seems to be the state practice and what seems to be the city of Attleboro's practice. And I don't know the answers to these things. I don't necessarily want to open a can of worms at this point, but
Charlie,
yes.
I think you have to pick your battles. I mean, you really, this has been going on forever. It really has, the idea of the trust funds and who's responsible and who has control, and we've dodged a lot of bullets over the years, to the point that we were looking into lawyers and things like that. And so yeah, we kind of gentle prodding, you know, I mean, stuff like, I think as far as evaluating the director of the lab, what Diane just mentioned, I think the fact that we have these meetings all the time and we see what's going on, in a way, is a way of keeping tabs of how things are going at the library. And is it necessary to have a formal evaluation? I'm not sure it necessarily is. But like I said, you need to learn how to pick your battles, because if you step on too many toes, it can be difficult, really difficult. And right now, things seem to be working okay as far as this mayor. And when you get another one, then you have another personality and another person to deal with. And so, like I said, you just kind of have to test the waters and see exactly how it's without compromising a lot either. You know, we don't want to give up a lot just because you have a mayor who has a strong personality. But I would suggest, yeah, just really kind of learning to kind of pick your battles, so to speak.
In all the years that I've been on the board, I don't ever remember us having a formal evaluation with any mayor. And I've been on the board with all these different mayors. So we've never done that.
It seems like there's two issues really. Who appoints? I mean, our bylaws clearly state the director shall be appointed by the board. And then the other thing is who's going to evaluate. So it's almost two different issues.
Well, I think they are two different issues, but I think that the crux of the problem goes back to that battle of wits about the independence or the quasi-independence of the library, and how it meshes with city government.
But in all fairness, Amy brought up a good point. Who evaluates me? How do I know whether you think I'm doing a good job or not? And I think, you know, I can understand why she brought that up. I thought it was a good point, and we've never done it. So I don't know whether there's a less formal way we could do it, or not to step on toes, but to let
I think if we could check with some other boards of trustees, they have a lot of educational meetings where they teach trustees how to be trustees. Right. And we could perhaps look into see how some other boards of trustees operate and kind of use that maybe as a guide.
It's just that most of them are towns who are dealing with maybe a town manager or a board of selectmen. And so they don't seem to have that same presence where we do. You know, we have someone who, you know, wants to appoint. So anyway, it would be nice to be able to go to one of those things again. I know everything is virtual still, right? Yeah. For the Massachusetts Library Association, they have something coming up in May. My son told me about it because he's been asked to speak. I went, what? So I'm going to try to check into that for sure. But he's a town manager, and they asked him to do something. I don't know about libraries. So, but that's something maybe Amy can let us know if she hears about it, if something's coming up.
They are doing virtual things. I know there's something coming up with the Mass Library system on strategic planning that I'm going to. So I will certainly let you guys know. And honestly, I just wanted, when I asked the question, I just wanted to make sure that the door was open for conversations. Just, you know, we have the library has such a great history of strong connection between the director and the board, and it's been copacetic. But I just want to continue that and make sure that priorities are aligned. And again, that the door is open, and phone calls, and like Judy was saying, you want to catch up, like, you know, I keep saying it's so busy, it's so busy. It is totally busy, but there's always time to talk about, you know, priorities and what's happening and that sort of thing. And I just want to keep that communication open.
I think, you know, you have open communication with the board
Mhm.
at any time. And
Yep.
you also know, I think that we, or I, will certainly be an advocate for you with the mayor if ever that's needed. I think one of the good things about the way the system is working today under this mayor is that he values our input. He likes our input as far as naming a new trustee. He likes it as far as, you know, choosing a library director and what's our opinion. We got a thank you from him and from Owen Bebo, the personnel director, both saying, thanks for your input. That's important and we value it. He likes consensus. He wants there to be consensus. So his door is open.
Yeah.
I
On the other
think
hand,
if you're not getting what you need, Amy, from city government about how you're doing,
Mhm.
you need to speak up or come to us and we'll speak up on your behalf. We can always call a special meeting to do an evaluation. That's in our bylaws that we can do that. And certainly we can always bend the mayor's ear on anything like this.
And I appreciate that, because like I said, like, just because we don't have any complaints against us, like I want the bar to be a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Like, I feel we're too important for that to be the bar.
Agreed.
Charlie?
Yes.
I think on the one hand, we have it pretty good because City Hall will take care of applications and posting. And when it comes to interviews and hiring a director, we didn't have to go through a lot of the things that the smaller towns have to as a board. They said, okay, we're posting it, we're putting this out, we'll set up the interviews. So in some ways, they do help us out from City Hall. I don't want to sound like we're down on City Hall.
Well, I think that also that, you know, goes back to what Linda said in choosing your battles. And that is truly the case. You know, would we have would we be able to go out and do a search? Would we know how to go out and post a job in the open market? I suppose we could figure that out, but it would take a little work. The city's got that mechanism in place. They've got procedures for how to go about doing it. They've got past experience. They know what you can say and what you can't say. These are all advantages that accrue to us for the way that it's been handled the last two times. So
Right.
It would be good to know where we stand and where the conflict lies as to who controls what. But I think we'll find the difference between
Age-old thing.
the municipal law as viewed by the state and city ordinance. So at any rate, there are other areas of the bylaws which I would like you to look at and think about. Let me pull out my copy. Article 1, Section 5 has to do with the treasurer. We need to make a couple of corrections there. It states in Section 5 that at the March meeting of the Board of Trustees, the treasurer shall present a full written statement of receipts and disbursements, donations received, and of cash and securities on hand, which statement shall be audited before it is accepted. That's not exactly where we are in the world today. First of all, we changed our fiscal year since these bylaws were drafted such that March should become September. So that's one change we need to make. as far as the statements are concerned, I think the, a year-end budget statement, similar to the budget that we receive at each meeting, I think will suffice. I think we probably need to strike the the last phrase, which says that the statement shall be audited before it is accepted. Another change we've made is to go from a full audit to what a CPA would refer to as a review. It's less comprehensive, it's way less expensive, and it's been blessed by City Hall and recommended by the accountant. So audit is an inaccurate term to be using today. I think that we should take that out. I'll draft this up and send it out to you, but I just wanted to discuss these as I see them. We should add to section 5 a statement that says that the treasurer shall engage an accounting firm which shall perform a formal review of our financial records for each fiscal year. That's what we do. That's current practice. That's what we're doing. And the treasurer shall provide the trustees with copies of the report of the accounting firm. Again, that's what has been happening up to this point, is that when the accountant comes up with a report, copies will be available for any board member that wants them. John Carty would typically pass them out, bring a bunch of copies in and pass them out when we were meeting in person. We can certainly get a digital copy, which we can circulate by email. There are 2 fiscal years which are being done now by the accountant. We're a little bit behind, really, because of John's demise and the transition to a new treasurer. So those are in the works, and as soon as tax season is over, I believe we'll have 2 fiscal years to bring to the board, and we'll at that point be probably 1 year behind, and we should be able to catch that up fairly quickly. But anyway, the language in section 5 has to change, and I'll come up with a draft for you. Article 2, section 6 talks about how meetings will be held in person in the Judge Edward Lee Trustees Room. I think it's proper to add a clause to that allows us to have virtual meetings in accordance with state and local regulations concerning open meetings. And I can draft up something for that for your review. Any questions on that, on any of the last 2 articles? The next thing I noticed was in section 7. This is nitpicking, but might as well get it right. Under section 7, item 8 is not an agenda item. It is telling us that we operate under Robert's Rules of Orders.
Right.
Order. It's not, so I think, take item 8 out. And the last agenda item is item 7, and then just reintroduce that sentence, Robert's Rules of Order shall be applied subsequent to listing the agenda items. That's housekeeping. That clear to everyone?
Yep, that's good.
And then let's see, what else have I got? Article 4 is what we've just been talking about the library director shall be appointed by the Board of Trustees. Don't quite know what to do with that, but maybe we should remove it completely at this moment in time. Any thoughts on that?
I think, I don't know about removing it, but maybe we kind of appoint in conjunction with the mayor, don't you think? I mean,
Yeah, just the wording needs to be changed. In conjunction, that works.
you like that word, in conjunction?
If we change it to
You could use the word the way we do it. I mean, if he's saying that he controls it, we could say we make a recommendation.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Which is what we do, which is really.
that's what we do.
Okay, so I'll clean that up so it says that and present you with a draft. That's all I found. Did anyone else notice any anachronisms or things that need to be reworded?
I like, do I have the floor? I don't know.
You do. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Section 2, the last sentence. That's under Article 1. No member of the Board of Trustees, the wording is weird. No member of the Board of Trustees who is elected president shall serve in this office more than 3 consecutive terms. So a term is 3 years, but by this, are they talking about the one every year we have a nominating committee and have new officers? So that means 3 years in a row, you can't, after that, you can't serve any longer? Or is it 3 terms?
Well, thinking back in history to when Judge Lee was director, we all have 1-year officers' terms on the board.
Right.
When we get appointed as a trustee, we have a 3-year term.
3-year term.
So I think that's maybe what's being confused, but we always had to, John Carty would always make this point. He said, we have to waive the bylaws with respect to 3 consecutive terms as president. And then we'd all raise our hands and Judge Lee would carry on as we wanted him to. I certainly, I believe, have been president for at least 3 years. So
Hopefully you want to
if I am to
continue.
continue, I should require a
We'll amend
waiver.
it to you, Charlie.
What's that?
I said, we'll amend the rules to you if you want to continue.
Well, I don't necessarily want to be president forever either, but
Well, no, but
Judge
so
Lee
sweet.
was an exception.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but so are you, Charlie. And as long as you want it, you should have it. You've been
thank
done
you.
a wonderful job.
I appreciate you
yes,
saying
you
that.
have, especially with how we've had to operate in the last year almost. It's been tough, really.
He's always done a great job.
Yeah, even in person too. Which I prefer much more than this, but.
Did-
But what about that last sentence? Can we just clean it up? No member of the board, it just doesn't sound very good. No member of the Board of Trustees. How about a member who is the president shall not do this, or just no
Why don't we-
member.
Yeah, if we said the president shall serve in this office no more than 3
So
consecutive
just leave
terms.
out no member business, no member of the board, just have the president shall not,
Okay.
something.
When,
to that
while we're being nitpicky, it's kind of an odd way of phrasing it, but under Article 4, Library Director, it says the library director shall report to the Board of Trustees the general condition of the library. I feel like, Charlie, you could come up with just a better wording than that. The general condition of the library sounds kind of odd to me.
Now, where's that section 4?
Section 5, Library Director, second paragraph.
Oh, I see it.
I feel like the director does more than tell us the general condition of the library.
Yeah, okay.
He tells
Well,
us
I think
about-
that's a little archaic.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It
thinking.
harkens back to some early bylaws.
Sure, have to
Okay.
join.
The suggested wording, anyone?
Report to the board. Shall report to the board. Shall keep the Board of Trustees abreast of what's happening in the library, or I have to think about that one.
All right. I will come up with some suggestions and pass them around to you before our next meeting.
Yeah, maybe we can toss it around a little.
And if you have any suggestions, you can send them to me. All right.
So Charlie, you're saying then would leave what it says here for Article 2, that you're not supposed to serve more than 3 terms, but we can just vote to, or how about amending it to say that that maybe no more than, I don't know how many years, no more than 5 one-year terms, no more, or not, just leave it the way it is and just amend it when it comes up.
Yes, I think that's the best.
That's what we've always done.
Yeah, and it's always worked well.
Okay.
I'm not sure I understand. So,
No, I was just saying, instead of saying shall not do this for more than 3 terms, 3 one-year terms, maybe make it stretch it out a little more, but maybe then that'll make someone have to feel like they have to stay on longer, or if they don't want to, maybe leave it the way it is and do what we've been doing is we'll overturn it. That's what happens, it seems.
I think Charlie needs a waiver to continue.
Charlie needs what? I'm sorry.
A waiver, all right? Is that
A
Charlie?
waiver. Yeah, that's what we would do. Okay.
yeah, I think every year John Cardy would raise his hand and say, I'd like to waive the bylaws and
Right.
vote on extending the term of Judge Lee for an additional
Yeah.
year.
Yep, that's a long. Did you take over for Judge Lee, Charlie? Who was
I
president
think I
before?
did.
Yeah,
No,
you did.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Linda was president for a while,
that's
or
right.
director, or whatever you call it, president.
Linda, I forgot that.
I
Yeah.
forgot that too.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been doing this forever. And I am self-conscious about that. But,
Don't be.
Okay. No. Never mind what I brought up then. Let's just stretch out the first part of the sentence and then I'm happy with.
okay.
No, remember
right.
that part.
Well, we don't have to decide these things tonight. I'll clean this up and circulate a copy before our next meeting. Certainly, this isn't something that's urgent that we have to
Right.
act upon tonight. We'll think about it a little bit more. And anything else that comes up in the meantime, email me during the month and I'll incorporate that. Okay. Did I say hello to Melissa and to Carol and
Yep.
say welcome to the meeting? If I didn't, it's about time we did. And I apologize if I didn't. Okay. Any more discussion on the bylaw changes?
Charlie, they're minor, but on page 1, section 5,
Yes.
at the March meeting, I believe March should be capitalized.
It should
Third
be.
line down.
We'll make it September, but it should be capitalized.
Yep. And then the very, very end approved. I know you're going to change it if we redo them, but June is also not capitalized.
Okay, agreed. So noted. Anything else? All right, then the next item I have, which you don't have, we neglected to add this. Bear with me a minute while I figure out what the heck I'm doing. Oh, it has to do with our upcoming election of officers, which should take place in March. We have to elect a president, or in my case, if I am to continue, you have to vote a waiver next meeting, next month. We also need to come up with a vice president, secretary, and treasurer. I do hope the treasurer will wish to extend. He's just getting going in his job and doing a fine job, I would say. But we do need to appoint officers for the coming year, starting in March. We should vote on it then. I'd like to appoint someone to be in charge of coming up with a slate and presenting that at the next meeting to be voted in. Just then the phone rang. Stand by. Okay, sorry about that. Forgot where I was for a moment. So would anyone like to volunteer to come up with a nomination for the 4 positions that we need to fill every year?
I've done it. I've done it many years, but I'll do it if someone else wants to help, or I can do it alone, or.
All right, would anyone like to assist Diane? Okay, Judy.
Judy.
Diane and Judy, you have the job to present a slate of officers for the coming year from March through next February. And then we will vote on that at the March meeting.
Sally, could we get a listing of the members on right now and their cell phone numbers or
I will
telephone
get,
numbers?
yes,
to
I'll
read?
get that to you.
Because I don't know what I did with mine. Lost.
I have it in my file folder, and I will email that to you. All right, that is all I have on the agenda for tonight. Does anyone have any other new business that they would like to bring up?
Harley, I was going to tell a quick story about Jean Vaughn. Do you
That
remember?
would be wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
That's great,
Okay.
yeah.
So I met Jean when I worked at the art museum when I first came to Attleboro in the early 90s. Like, she worked at the gift shop there and she shared a lot of stories and we got to know each other pretty well. And then 10 or 15 years later, I started working at the library, and similar to Melissa, I was at a board meeting as the staff representative. And when I walked in, Jean like patted the seat next to me and was, Amy, it's so good to see you. Let's catch up. And she were catching up on all the things. And people started filling in, and Walter's giving me these looks, and I don't know what's going on. And then Judge Lee, who I had never met before, looks at me and told me, I'm sorry, but you have to go sit in the corner. And so afterwards, Walter explained, like, yes, the staff member normally sits in the corner. They don't vote, they don't talk, they just sit in the corner. I'm like, well, Jean invited me right here. It's very awkward, but look at how it all worked out in the end.
Indeed.
She was a lovely, lovely lady. I learned a lot about Attleboro from her.
She was a lovely, lovely lady.
A classy woman, that's right. I agree.
She was the secretary. I remember when I first came on, that's what her job was.
Yeah,
Secretary.
she's very bright. They're always lovely. Just, and I don't think I said this at the board. I think I said it at the Friends, that my husband said that I think she had 7 children. And he said she brought up the most wonderful 7 children that,
Yeah,
that it
I
came
knew
out.
Vic. I knew her son Vic.
So she was something. And it was nice to see that the donations were asked to go to the Friends of the library. So that'll be good.
I would add generosity as another attribute of Jean. We have the Vaughn Memorial Forest on Steer Street. She donated land to the land trust, and we have that too. So
Yeah,
just another word to describe her.
yeah.
Now, she was 91 when she died, and it said that she went to Wharton Business School in Pennsylvania. Now, back then, for a woman to be able to go to business school, especially the very exclusive one, Wharton, was quite a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if she ever worked in the business world, but all the things I've seen lately, back in those days, women didn't have those opportunities.
That's right. Wharton
They
School
weren't
was a,
allowed to even go.
I have
So-
one last bit to give you guys, and it has to do with another board member. When I first came on the board, Martha Auerbach was on the board.
Oh,
Martha Auerbach was one of the first women to graduate from MIT with an architectural degree. I mean, we had some stars in this board way back when. I mean, yeah, she was another awesome person. Really, really well educated and way ahead of her time. So, and hated the idea of putting the skylight in the library. She hated that, but yet she shut up and put up with it. But yeah, so that's my end.
Amy, it's worth noting, you're in the corner of my screen. I just thought I'd let you know that.
Judge Lee will be happy. But can you just picture Jean like looking over her glasses at him like we were talking?
Yeah. Well, the judge was always very big on certain things, you know,
Yep.
certain traditions, the way it
Yep.
Month of March, what would we do?
sing.
Oh,
We
yeah.
would sing when I first.
That's right. That's
And
right.
after, I think we had to sing too.
Don Carty kept that tradition alive.
Yeah.
I let it die. I'm sorry. But- Well, I think, you know, if there is no other business to come before this meeting, is there? Seeing none, I would like to thank Linda and Eileen for a lot of years of dedicated service to this board. You really are a wealth of knowledge and information that helps guide us from month to month. And it's going to be a big loss to see you go, but we appreciate your service. And we'll be sorry to see you go. Linda, you indicated that you might stick around until we come up with a replacement. Eileen, might I ask you to do the same? It looks like we have some candidates to suggest.
Sure, I'll do that.
So your terms may expire, but your counsel will never expire. So we will
Right.
welcome
And
your
we're
input.
we're both part of the Friends of the Library, so we'll be active and
We're on that board too.
yeah. And I have to say, it's been an honor for me to be part of the library board. I've met so many great people through the trustees and the Friends, and so I was honored to be able to do it.
Me too.
Well, thank you very much. Just saying thank you after all these years seems kind of inadequate, but we very much appreciate your experience and your wisdom, and we'll miss it. So hopefully we'll replace you with some people who will eventually become what you have been for us. But we'll miss you.
Thank you. Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks for your service.
Is there anything else? I would like to thank Carol and Melissa for joining us tonight. I'm sorry I didn't recognize you earlier in the meeting. I feel like I must have forgotten, but anyway, I'm glad you were here with us. Is there anything either one of you would like to add to the meeting tonight before we go? We thank you for your patience in trying times at the library. It just keeps on ticking despite everything, and it's because of people like you two. So we appreciate you. All right, people, if there is no other business, I will adjourn the meeting, and we'll look forward to seeing you same time, same station next month. Good night, everyone. Meeting adjourned.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Hey.